Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here, once again to do another Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3 review. This time the fourth episode, The Foundling. Last episode we had a sort of like an Andor style like New Republic one. Just to recap, it seems I made a few mistakes in that review, particularly from my understanding I think only Americans had like former Nazi scientists come over to work with them and all that stuff, but yeah. So I'm not Soviet Union, so I apologize for any historical inaccuracies. It's been a while since I paid attention to that kind of detail about aftermath of World War II, but yeah. But outside of that, but yeah, last episode pretty much had the Doctor Who Pasang or something. Let's see, hold on, let me just get the name up. Dr. Persing and all that stuff as trying to adjust to New Republic lifestyle, but being tricked by Alara Kane in order to try and continue his clone research to get arrested by New Republic. And then, of course, seemed to be getting his memory wiped from her, whatever she's planning and all that stuff. But yeah, from my understanding, that episode received a bit of mixed reviews. On one hand, you got many people who liked Andor praise it, but those who just like maybe more casual, and those who didn't like Andor saying like, too much, too much, how should I say, less of the Star Wars fun action adventure thing and too much more political thriller. But yeah, but you know what? I like the politics of Star Wars. I thought it was cool learning more, seeing Coruscant during the New Republic days, all that stuff. But yeah. So, but the result of that episode, you had Bo-Katan lose her home, and she unintentionally ends up getting welcomed into the Watch, because she also bathed in the Mandalorian waters, though she also saw the Minosaur, but she has not yet revealed that detail to Din Djarin, and we don't know what her motivations are and all that stuff. But yeah, how does Bo-Katan fit in with the new Watch? Well, we're about to find out. Let's see from the summary I'm about to give. Sorry for the long intro. Anyway, the episode begins with training with well, you see most Mandalorians training, which there's a lot more than in the beginning from last episode and all that stuff. So yeah, combat training. You're seeing all types of weapons, including the sort of Beskar steel spear that I thought was not supposed to be used as a weapon. I guess Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau changed their mind on that one, but yeah. But you see all kinds of training, flamethrower, hand-to-hand combat, knives, Beskar spears, dart training, foundlings training and all that stuff. You see Bo-Katan just looking about and all that stuff, and Din Djarin eventually decides it's time to have Grogu train and takes him away from what he was trying to do. I assume he was trying to eat these stone crabs. And he ends up having Ragnar Vizsla from like the first episode of the season, the one we saw bathed in the Mandalorian, in the third season of the Mandalorian and all that stuff. And he's decided to have him as his challenging partner. Ragnar underestimates Grogu, though, in a dark challenge with him at first taking the lead, but once Din Djarin gives him confidence despite Bo-Katan's concerns, Grogu uses some of that Force Jedi leaping thing to jump about, shoot Ragnar, and wins the challenge and all that stuff. I think with a sort of lesson about those who cannot speak, and I can't recall quite the phrase, unfortunately, but yeah, some of like you can't speak of some silence thing, but yeah, since Grogu can't speak yet, he can't say the creed and all that stuff, so he can't really wear the armor. But during which, after this victory, you have Paz, Vizsla, and the Armorer watching and all that stuff. You got the sort of like a Petrosaur, this sort of like how should I say this sort of raptor like creature. I'm not sure if it's got an official name yet. I mean, in the show they just call it the Raptor. Grabs the foundling and all. Foundling Ragnar, And you see some of the Mandalorians in pursuit, particularly Din Djarin and Paz with their jetpacks. They're able to catch up to it for quite a bit, but they couldn't get too far. So it ends up being followed by Bo-Katan's, how should we say, what's the Cornut class fighter, if you will, and is able to follow it to its nest. Goes back to tell them that, let's see, where its location is and how to get there. They can't really jetpack up there to make noise, otherwise they'll kill the kid if he's still alive. So a sort of party led by Bo-Katan with Paz Vizsla and Din Djarin with like an armored hunter party, if you will go in pursuit. But Grogu is staying behind with the armorer because he is too young and all that stuff, and cannot, let's see, speak and all that stuff. So he's left behind and all that stuff. So the armor decides to teach Grogu a bit more of the ways of the Mandalorians if he is to become a true foundling and all that stuff. I should say that once you foundling, we go from foundling to apprentice, but then I'm not sure the official Mandalorian. But I'll get more into that later. And we end up seeing Grogu as, let's see, the armor's creating a new piece of weapon, a new piece of armor for Grogu, explaining how everyone tries to bring back a bit of Beskar for their foundlings and all that stuff, and a bit of Mandalorian lessons. Grogu starts to get flashbacks and visions to when, during the days of like let's see, his days in Order 66 of the Great Jedi Purge Temple Siege, if you will. Following up from that scene we saw in the Book of Boba Fett when Luke Skywalker enacting the visions, shooting. Yes, you see some of the Jedi fall by one into Itzy. Grogu's able to get to an elevator where it leads them down to I believe Kelleran Beck, who is portrayed by Ahmed Best. Let's see, the actor who portrayed Jar Jar Binks from the prequel trilogy. There's also this Jedi was portrayed by the one from the live action kids show challenge, Jedi Temple Challenge, if you will. Let's see, where he makes his probably first, let's see, inverse canon appearance, apparently, or the Temple Challenges count as canon, but yeah. Who grabs Grogu after fighting off a bunch of clones and uses two lightsabers as a result, one from the corpse of one of the fallen Jedi that fell in, I think, in the elevator. They escape on a speed bike and then chased, let's see, by TATTA. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just double check. I always fail to pronounce the Star Wars transports. Let's see. The LAAT. There we go. The LAT transports. Eventually, it leads to a sort of subway with a train where it crashes, and eventually, let's see, he arrives where he has some friends from the Naboo Royal Guard who have who are with a H-type Nubian yacht, the one that Padme had from Attack of the Clones. Let's see, they stay behind to fight off the Coruscant Guard and the regular clone troopers that arrive on the platform. And let's see, the Jedi Master and Grogu escape, and that ends the flashback as the armorer gives Grogu a sort of Mandalorian chest plate that he will eventually grow into with the Mudhorde clan symbol that he is now a part of and all that stuff. The group arrives back. Let's see. No, my mistake. We then cut to Bo-Katan's group with Din Djarin and all that stuff. They land by near transport and they start climbing. Now, of course, they have a bit of a campfire thing where Bo-Katan learns that those of the way find solitude to eat alone, and since she's the leader, she gets to eat by the fire, in which we see her take off her helmet for the first time since she's in solitude, possibly reflecting on her current status right now. Then starts to eat, then cuts back to when they climb up to the nest. Eventually, they finally arrive at the nest and look for heat signatures. Let's see, Din Djarin notices there's one area where Paz rushes in. They're saying that Bo-Katan and the others trying to tell him not to rush in, but since apparently we learn that the one called Ragnar is actually Paz Vizsla's son. He ends up trying to find the nest, only to find little youngling hatchlings, if you will, of the giant raptor. And then the giant raptor comes in, let's see, and ends up spitting out, revealing that he's kept a Ragnar inside its mouth to do the, bird spit thing and all that stuff, how they feed their offspring, from inside the stomach. He's still alive. Of course, let's see, Paz fights it off a bit, but ends up getting bitten and getting trapped in its jaw, while Ragnar's, in his claws and all that stuff. And they go to Bo-Katan and the other Din Djarin and the other Mandalorians go in pursuit, chasing it and all that stuff, and a bit of a fight against Shides, trying to tie it up, trap it, shoot it, stab it, and all that stuff. Bo-Katan loses a piece of her armor. Eventually, Paz and Ragnar are free, and the raptor ends up being eaten by the dinosaur-like turtle from the others when it's got trapped in the water and all that stuff, apparently killing it. With then the group arrives back with Ragnar, but also with the three with where the armor praises Bo-Katan for success, and also for helping the foundling, as that is the highest, most important thing that Mandalorians can do, for the future and that stuff. And she ends up producing, and she also brought back the three raptor younglings to be trained as foundlings, if you will, or at least very much beasts to ride for the Mandalorians. So the Mandalorians now have three raptors to try and fly and train and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Yarma tells Bo-Katan to come with her so she can fix up her armor, asking what she wants for those elbow plates were the one she lost, asking for Night Owl, but she asks for one for the Minosaur, as the armor agrees, since all Mandalorians can wear it. And Bo-Katan sort of asks her what would she do if she saw the actual Minosaur on her new Polderlon and all that stuff, how she encountered the creature on the waters of Mandalore, but the armor said that she was lucky, but seems implied that she might have just been seeing in a vision and all that stuff, but doesn't seem to be in the belief that she saw it and all that stuff. Ending the episode, so Well, interestingly enough, granted, from my understanding, the season 3 premiere was the lowest premiere for The Mandalorian, I think 1.5 million or something, and so apparently not many people have been viewing this season 3 as compared to the last two. I know that some people thought last episode didn't have enough of The Mandalorian to be called The Mandalorian, but I hope after this episode that will be more to their satisfaction, though granted, I'd say the two MPVs of this episode, instead of being The Mandalorian, is split between Grogu and Bo-Katan and all that stuff. So, First of all, I really like seeing how the training with the Watch and the Mandalorians in general, you see in all the different types of training. I do question why is the Beskar spear there, as I thought the armor said that, it's meant to be shield weapons and not, not great weapons to compare and treat the Beskar blade, but I guess Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau decide, you know what, might as well have it. And also, some Mandalorians probably do prefer that. And arguably, it makes probably more sense that the regular Mandalorians would have some sort of Beskar weapon that the sort of blade or spear to, combat against the Jedi and their lightsabers. So, Anyway, I do like how it's interesting. I think there's a lot more Mandalorians in this episode than the last two, so it seems like the Convert has increased their numbers and all that stuff. It's become a lot more bigger forces and all that stuff. So I guess more and more people are coming. I'm not sure if it's because Bo-Katan is there, but interesting. But it is interesting to see all the training and all that stuff. I do like it, and I did find it interesting how Din Djarin has decided that, okay, it's time for Grogu to now learn Mandalorian combat and all that stuff. and gets him to move away from like the stone crabs, which I thought. But yeah, at first when those stone crabs were there, I thought there was just Grogu moving the rocks with the Force and all that stuff. And then, but no, then once I realized he was, when you get up, okay, no, there's actually some other creature that Grogu probably wants to try and eat, but Din Djarin says, no time to train. I do wonder if Grogu was using the Force on them to keep them all there, as they're all scattered off once he was picked up. But yeah, I do find it interesting how Bo-Katan and was a bit skeptical about it, but it does try to assure Grogu that this is like how her father trained her, which makes me wonder if, like, Satine and let's see, Bo-Katan's father was a bit more warrior, at least some sort of combat thing for Mandalorian ways before the new Mandalorians, but I could be wrong. But yeah, or at least accepted some form of combat. At least wasn't an absolute pacifist like Duchess Satine and all that stuff. So yeah, so yeah, so I do like that, but it's interesting how let's see, we end up seeing the kid Ragnar from the first episode, and I thought like that's interesting. That's interesting how that ends up. It's interesting how that ends up being the case, since let's see, I figured he was just going to be a one-off character. I mean, there was some criticism about his helmet being like a Star Wars toy, if you will, but I did like the fact that they just did it as like a sort of like little nod, but who knows? But yeah. But anyway, it seems he was a bit cocky with Grogu and thinking of how he couldn't talk and all that stuff. But Din Djarin also figured, like, maybe you can learn a lesson. I do like how the armor and Pazviz are paying attention because, well, this is Grogu. We'll see, because it's also Grogu who's now become a foundling who caused much. Let's see Ginger Djarin went to such lengths to protect, and also for like Paz is kind of his son could also learn a lesson from it, in which he ends up doing. Now, interesting when interesting. I thought it was going to be like real darts for a second, but I think even the Mandalorians aren't that harsh from the looks of things, because it ended up being just paint darts, 3 each. I do like how Din Djarin tried to teach Grogu to like close your hands and then shoot and all that stuff. 3 barrels each, and I thought like, okay, is it first 3, but now it's like 3 shots. And let's see, Ragnar just ends up being a bit cocky of just shooting one and all. Until Din Djarin says, show me you are. At first I thought he was going to force push him and then get reprimanded, but no, he's using the force to jump about and then shoots. Which goes to show that Luke Skywalker's teaching or reteaching him has paid off at the very least. That's interesting, but yeah. But let's see, the whole raptor creature kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones dragons in some ways, but mostly is raptor-like and all that stuff taken away. I admit, it's like, okay, this is the plot. We finally get the idea of the plot of the episode, and it's trying to rescue this foundling. But yeah, of course, we still get more Grogu later. But yeah, I do like how, let's see, this is apparently something that has been a bit of a challenge for the Mandalorians, as they tried chasing the jetpacks before, but it's been taking young foundlings quite a bit. And we even see one of those helmets in the nest, some previous ones, so this has been a bit of a problem for the Mandalorians. So you can see why they all stay together as a group and all that stuff. But yeah, I do like how we're now Bo-Katan with a starfighter. Let's see, a starfighter. Let's see, she's able to find a nest and help them lead and all that stuff. It's interesting how well she seems to adjust to being a met part of the, let's see, convert and the watch here. All that stuff, given the fact that I guess it goes to show that these type of Mandalorians might be a bit cult-like with their helmets, and this is the way kind of thing. At least accepting of other Mandalorians, and not turning to hold too much grudges unless you're apostate. But yeah, but taking, let's see, the armors and all that. Let's see. So she helps them strategize how to rescue the kid and all that stuff. But yeah. And I do like how she's leading, but I guess they do admit, okay, she was a leader of Mandalorians once, so she could lead. So yeah. But it is interesting how I do like how the armor decides, okay, Grogu, since you're too young, I'm going to teach you more of our ways, showing them how the Forge is like the way of Mandalorian and all that stuff. I do like how this ends up being a bit of a montage to like the Order 66 flashback. Is it perhaps it's a bit random to do it in an episode, but then again, I guess they wanted to make it found. Since I think perhaps it's interesting that since this episode's going to be focused on protecting foundlings, you might as well learn more of Grogu's backstory. And we've actually learned how he escaped the Jedi Temple, not just get a hint of it from like the Book of Boba Fett. You see, so yeah, all the Jedi that were guarding him, who were trying to protect this youngling in particular. I guess they figured since it's a Yoda, since it's the same species as Jedi Master Yoda, he'll become probably as powerful and wise as him someday. So I figured like he's like a long-term future of the Jedi Order, but ends up becoming Mandalorian. But the Jedi. All of them end up dying. Let's see, with only like one's corpse landing on the elevator, in which then we of course see, which leads to outside to Colonel Beck. I think it's absolutely cool that Ahmed Best is back in Star Wars again. I've partly wondered if perhaps Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau would perhaps show an older Jar Jar from like after the original trilogy thing. I do know how Jar Jar unfortunately got screwed in the new Disney canon because I think his right ended up being Chuck Webbig or something, the author of the Aftermath trilogy, who was very anti-prequel and just did an original commentary of like Jar Jar being exiled once again when everyone blamed him for giving Chancellor Palpatine emergency powers and all that stuff, allowing his rise and all that stuff. So he ended up just being a street performer as a clown on the thing where kids found him funny and adults hate him. Just inverse commentary on the fandom's general reception of Jar Jar. But given all the sort of harsh things that have happened with let's see, I'm best with the backlash of Jar Jar. I think he even tried to take his own life. Think of taking his own life at one point, but luckily he didn't. Fandom reception has been a bit more warm and welcome. So I'm thinking like, okay, we went too far. I think Simon Pegg even commented on something like that. But who was infamous for hating the prequels at the time. But yeah, and he got this Jedi Temple challenge and all that stuff. Got a few performances in Robot Chicken, and of course the Darth Jar Jar Fury. But I'm glad that his character's playing a bit more of a major role. And okay, we learned that he was during like the Dritty, not the High Republic era, but this era, but the Skywalker saga era, at least the prequel era. But yeah. So it's cool to see him, and he's quite the badass from what we've seen, taking one of the lightsabers of his fallen comrades and using the blade to take on clones from both sides until eventually they can get onto a speeder. Is able to race and LLAT, driving it through the whole tunnel things. I do like how we got to see the mountaintop from Coruscant again from like the previous episode. So yeah, might as well use that scene as much as you can. Might as well use it because of the budget. But yeah, I do like seeing Coruscant and the whole Nazi chase and all that stuff. It's always fun to see a chase in Coruscant, I will say. But yeah. But I do like how he's able to like maneuver like around the train that gets the clones destroyed. And I do like how we, besides seeing 501st clones, we end up seeing guards and all that stuff, clones, and just regular clones and all that stuff. Interesting how we see some of the Naboo guards. I wonder if that's a reference to the fact that Ahmed Best is from playing Jar Jar, who is a Gungan who's like a native to Naboo and all that stuff. So yeah, I wonder if that's an odd reference or just Dave Filoni being a bit fan service. But I think it's kind of cool. Just order this, like, you know what, we have to get up. This makes it easier and all that stuff. I mean, it's interesting how this Jedi seems to be close to like Naboo and all that stuff. I wonder if this is leading to like possibly one of the 501st missions of like from like the old Battlefield 2 game, where they were trying to stop rebellions. One of the rebellions they were trying to stop was Naboo and all that stuff. and resulting in the assassination of Queen, who was helping some Jedi. I'm not sure if that's going to be that, but I do like how we got like the Attack of Clones yacht that Padme had to Geonosis and all that stuff. And sometimes you saw in the Clone Wars, but yeah, I think Jar Jar destroyed one in one episode, but yeah. So I do like that we see that, and I do like how the Naboo, and it's interesting how the Naboo guards all just stayed behind to fight off the clones. I figured like the more the merrier to and all that stuff, and you see some of them die, and even some of the clones die now. She did have some Naboos helping the Jedi Temple Sage, if you will, well, outsider, but still. But interesting enough. But yeah. And afterwards, he manages escaping that Naboo yacht thing. Now, granted, the fate of this Jedi Master remains to be unknown, but we know at some point him and Grogu got separated. Perhaps he was trying to teach. I'm not sure what we'll see more in the future. My guess, maybe a flashback of him trying to teach Grogu more, but who knows? But then something resulted in him being killed. Who knows? For we know, he might have been hunted down by an Inquisitor, Darth Vader, or maybe he got frozen in carbonite and then is released later and then meets Luke Skywalker. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting to try and learn what this Jedi's fate is. But yeah, but it's cool that Ahmed Best is back in a role for Star Wars. And while Jar Jar might be a bit more, he might have been a bit divisive for the fandom, I think many people will just warmly accept him as like this Jedi Master now, and maybe we'll probably hope to see him more. Who knows? But will be interesting at the very least. But yeah, I think it's kind of like whether or not. Granted, there might be another Jedi Temple challenge thing. Though, granted, that only happened in 2020, and it's been like 3 years now. So I wonder if that was only just one season. But either way, it'll be cool to see more of this character with whatever they do. But yeah. But I hope that Ahmed Best gets to do more, so more people will be more warm reception to him in this time in Star Wars. But we end up just seeing how at least Grogu escaped the Jedi Temple at the very least. So I always enjoyed that. But yeah, other than that, I liked how Bo-Katan seems to be adjusting to the Mandalorian way of the watch and all that stuff. When she asked Ginger Jar, and how do you eat? And it's like, you go find a place to eat in solitude. But since she's the leader, she gets the fire. And we see her unmasked for the first time since Betsy the second episode. So it's interesting. I wonder if it's interesting how the look she has. I think she's just contemplating what her lifestyle is now and all that stuff. Granted, she can always choose to leave it if she so chooses, but for now, she's staying a part of it. But yeah. And this is where most of the episode stays with her and all that stuff. So yeah. Anyway, interestingly, it's very interesting how Paz Vizsla is the father of Retzi of Ragnar from like the first episode of season 3 and all that stuff. I thought he didn't have any Retzi blood relatives unless he's adopted, but it does make me think an interesting thing with the Way of the Watch, since they're only allowed to take off their helmets and sword. Are they allowed to do so again when they are in the presence of their lover, wife, husband, and all that stuff? Or let's see, because I assume they'll probably have to if they want to reproduce and all that stuff, and continue bloodlines and all that stuff, because there are houses and clans, so not all of them are adoptions. So yeah. That leads to some interesting questions, but perhaps maybe I'm getting a bit too, adult-rated there. But yeah. But yeah. I thought that was kind of awesome. But yeah. What else? Yes. I do like how. Yeah. But it's interesting that this gives. I guess this giving Paz a son gets him a bit more sympathetic when he thanks Mando for saving him later. Saving his son later, and also when he's just recklessly, also gives him more death to his character, and then shows that he really cares when he just recklessly charged in and all that stuff. Interesting how the raptor ends up being a mother feeding 3 little baby raptors and all that stuff. So yeah, I do like how it's like, okay, it's like a really giant bird and all that stuff, but I think that's what regular pterodactyls and raptors also allegedly did and all that stuff. Swallowing some creatures and then spitting them out for their kids to eat. But yeah, Let's see. I found the flight fight between the Mandalorian Hunter group and all that fun. I liked how they're all trying all different things of trying to stab it. Let's see, circle it with wires and all that stuff. And let's see. I can't recall the flamethrowers, but yeah, but they didn't use lasers because they didn't worry of shooting the kid, which would kill him and all that stuff. So yeah. I do like how they slowly managed to get both Paz and then Ray got out, and you had the kid nearly falling to his death, but Din Djarin saving it. But yeah, interesting how they did a sort of like Jurassic World death for like let's see, for the main evil dinosaur for that movie, but with like the dragon turtle here, so it's like there's more than one here, so. I assume there's probably more than one raptor, but yeah. But it's like that's like sort of brutal death kind of thing, like struggling to get out of the water, but then only to get eaten. Kind of cruel, but yeah, but I guess that's nature for you. But I do find it nice how the Mandalorians aren't completely heartless and just leaving these young wetzy raptors to die instead. Take them in and all that stuff. I do like how that spooks the other Mandalorians when they arrive, but I guess, let's see, foundlings are foundling, even if it's just like a creature they can just probably ride. I do like how Bo-Katan just describes them as foundlings. I do like how everyone just welcomes their return and that stuff, with the armor praising her and all that stuff. So it seems like, despite the armorer's previous criticisms of Bo-Katan in the Book of Boba Fett, is willing to praise her and all that stuff. But again, we did see she was willing to welcome her. But yeah. But it's interesting he's even willing to give her armor. And I do like how Bo-Katan is just slowly contemplating, telling her what she saw when she said, I'd like the mythosaur. And it's interesting that every Mandalorian can use it. It's interesting how she tries to say, what if I told you I saw one? But, of course, the armor is skeptical of disbelief and all that stuff. Just thinks she seems lucky in the vision. But, yeah. So, that's interesting in that bit because Bo-Katan clearly leaves it. But it's interesting how she's got a new bit of plate. I wonder if she's going to try and paint it. But it looks silver like Din Djarin's. But, yeah. But I figured that she will probably... but she clearly wants to try and think of like... perhaps maybe this mythosaur will, perhaps she can ride it, that's what she's thinking. Maybe she can lead the Mandalorians through that kind of symbol, but yeah, though it might end up being Din Djarin, or maybe even Grogu eventually, but yeah. But she's clearly saying it, and I'm wondering if this is what's going to lead up to like this season, because at the moment, one of the criticisms of this season so far is the fact that it feels directionless. First season was like, finding out what to do, how to keep Grogu safe and all that stuff. After once Mandalore brought him back to like the guild, but then to the Empire, but then saved him and all that stuff. And then season 2 was like finding a Jedi for him, which led to Luke Skywalker. Then you had mid 2 season 2.5 where Mando was exiled by the Armorer. You need to go find the waters and all that stuff, and Mandalore to be bathed, and then of course Grogu making his choice. Besides, like the Book of Boba Fett plotline. Granted, the whole finding the waters of Mandalore, I thought that was going to be like an entire season, but now they did it in the first 3 episodes, and he's now back and all that stuff. So now we're just trying to figure out what's the rest of the season going to be, and I assume that it's going to be some point returning to Mandalore or doing whatever conflict with them might involve Moff Gideon, but at the moment we have no idea. Now, granted, I'm not entirely sure of Bo-Katan's intentions with her watch is still, good intention. I wonder if she is eventually going to try and double-cross them in order to try and gain more power for, leading how she first sees the Mandalorians, but it's interesting how she told them how she saw one. I'm wondering if or if she's just thinking, what if I told you I saw it so we can try and tame this beast and, come back to Mandalore and rebuild and all that stuff. But at the moment, the armor remains skeptical. But yeah. So I'm wondering how that will lead. At the moment, she and the armor seem to be in good terms, but I wonder if that will lead to conflict in the future. Or if she eventually tells Din Djarin what he thinks. But yeah. But either way, at the moment, the Mandalorians are just enjoying their time and the training each other and all that stuff we're building. So yeah. Overall, I think I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10. It was a fun episode. We got to explore a bit more about Mandalorian combat training with foundlings and all that stuff. and sort of ranks like foundling, apprentice, and I guess regular Mandalorian. So in many ways, Mandalorians are a bit more like Jedi than they realize, with like foundling, youngling, apprentice, Padawan, Mandalorian, and I guess Jedi Knight, and Mandalorian, Jedi Master. Okay, granted, I'm not sure the Mandalorians have. Let's see, a rank for Jedi Master, but Mandalorian Grandmaster. But yeah, let's see. But I guess we'll find. I guess perhaps Mandalorian Heavy Shock Trooper or Commander or something. But yeah, and learning more about how Paz Vizsla has a kid and all that stuff, and let's see, learning how Grogu escaped the Jedi Temple and seeing Ahmed Best Jedi character in canon. That was fun. And Bo-Katan just sailing in, and let's see that chase with like the raptor and all that stuff. So yeah, and building up more about the whole Mythosaur plotline, which I assume is going to be the recurring thing for this season. I don't know. I know at least that there's going to be a fourth season. If that will be the end of the Mandalorian, or if they're going to be at least a fifth or sixth season, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's got about, let's see, if the like four season will be a total of 32 episodes. A fifth season will be 40. Who knows? It really depends on how many seasons Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni want to do this vision, and arguably perhaps the stuff that we'll see what they're going to try and do with this Mandoverse with Ahsoka, with possibly like Thrawn's the big bad of it, but we'll have to wait and see. But overall, that's all we have to say now. Let's see. For those who end up watching or listening, even if only for a little bit, I hope you liked what I had to say. I am Blue Star Saber. May the Force be with you, and goodbye for This Is the Way. Ta-ta.